welcome, Christian. Thanks for joining me.
Great to be here with you virtually. It's been a couple of months since we saw each other in London, and that was a face-to-face, and probably one of the last face-to-face meetings we had in the industry.
It seems such a long time ago.
a different world, definitely.
We generally sort of start these off with a quick intro to yourself and sort of the group and what you do. So if you don't mind sort of explaining that.
Absolutely. Christian Schmelter is my name. I'm the group sales director for Tifco Hotel Group, and I look after the UK and Nordic markets. And I also I'm a key account director for our company, Tifco Hotel Group, established 23 years ago this year. It compromises about 22 hotels nationwide in Ireland. And the main MICE hotels that I look after are the Crowne Plaza Dublin Airport, Crowne Plaza Blanchardstown, the Clontaff Castle, the brand new Hard Rock Hotel in Dublin City Centre, which we opened on the 3rd of March this year, and the Hilton Dublin Kilmainham. The chain hotel, so to speak, is we have franchise agreements with IHG and Hilton for those, and then we also have a whole range of independent hotels, and of course the Hard Rock Hotel as well. So I look after the full group.
Still very much looking forward to seeing the new Hard Rock out there. I didn't really have a chance to see
we're
that
on version 2 now, because we had to close it after 10 days. We had a mandatory closure order from the government on the 30th of March. So literally the doors were open 10 days, and we just reopened last Monday, which was 4th of June. We reopened, I believe, no, 29th of June, sorry, 29th of June, we reopened all our hospitality. So we're just over a weekend now at this stage.
Okay, and how are you finding it sort of effectively, hopefully, post-COVID? So
post-COVID, yeah. I mean, I look after mainly mice actually, and so it's been a very slow trickle. What we're finding is the mavericks, so to speak, have come out, and we had a good first weekend of trading, particularly in the Clontaff Castle and the Hard Rock Hotel and the Hilton, which is a more city centre based property. So we're seeing some good traction on leisure, and some good traction also on food and beverage, on walk-ins and reservations in a restaurant and bars, which has been really positive. So we were expecting that actually, and it did beat our initial trading forecast for the first week, and we were delighted to see that. There is an absence of corporate businesses, no doubt about it, and an absence of meetings. Now, that's not to say we don't have any meetings. We do actually have some meetings in-house. We have 54 meeting rooms spread over our hotels in Dublin alone, from a small boardroom up to 1,000 people. So we have everything from small to very large. And this tends to be a very quiet time of year anyway. Our airport is technically open, but there is this mandatory, it's not mandatory, there's a mandatory locator form that you need to fill out when you arrive in Dublin, but you're also being advised by the government to quarantine for 2 weeks, and that's not mandatory. That is due to expire on the 20th of July, when they'll be opening up destinations which have yet to be announced on so-called air bridges or travel bubbles. So once that gets going again, we would expect to see particularly our hotels near the airport start to gain some traction on accommodation. But we're pleasantly surprised on the first week of trading since we reopened.
Nice. I mean, it's great to hear that you're open for starters, but the fact that it's been a positive response from the start obviously gives you encouragement. I mean, hotels themselves have obviously been hit very, very hard with what's happened, and not only that, with a lack of revenue, but then needing to spend with the measures. What type of measures have you had to sort of introduce into the venues?
Yeah, look, we were really early out of the traps with this, and this is something we've been working on since 8-10 weeks ago, even before the government guidelines were announced. We had a very good idea, because this is not just UK and Ireland centric, this issue. This is global. So we were looking towards what IHG were doing in the Chinese markets, and as it was kind of sweeping across the planet, and we were looking at what kind of risk mitigation and new flows of working and welcoming guests, and we had a good kind of sense of where this was going to go. So we started developing a really comprehensive document, which is a customer-facing document, which we have on our Tifco Hotel Group website, which has has been constantly evolving. And once we got the government guidelines about 4 weeks ago, we had a good sense of exactly where Ireland, hospitality in Ireland needed to be, and then we just needed to fine tune it. And it's all about, it's about risk mitigation. It is about safety, but it's also about customers walking in our front door and saying, yeah, they've got it really right. They know what they're doing. I feel really safe here. In saying that, we don't want it to feel like a hospital you're checking into, and I think we've managed to do that really well. And what we felt, what all of us felt 3-4 months ago, shopping and being out and about, and exchanging money or credit cards through perspex screens has now become the new norm, and we're all very used to it. And seeing people working in customer-facing roles wearing face masks a couple of months ago was very unusual, but now it's become the new norm. So, and I think we've accepted it, and our customers are happy to see it, and it hasn't taken away from the experience of going out for dinner or going for a drink or staying in a hotel. So it still is a very positive experience, and the feedback we've got so far in the first week of trading is, yeah, well done, guys, you've done a good job.
That's great. So from an event perspective, what could we sort of speak to the industry, speak to our clients about? What type of events can we come over to Dublin for? What sort of size of groups can we look to?
Currently we have a 50 person limit on 50 persons in any one room at 2 meter social distancing. That is due to on the 20th of July. That is going to be raised upwards to 100 people. So that brings us right back into our conference market again, based on 2 meter social distancing. We've reworked all our rooms to embrace that, and it actually looks really well. Now, one thing we have within our hotels is lots of space, and so a meeting room that was set up for 120 can now do 30 or 40 people social distancing. Cabaret is kind of out, actually. Cabaret style is out now. It's back to classroom, because it's very easy to do 2 meter social distancing in classroom. Anything meeting wise, as we know, most people bring laptops now to meetings, so theatre is not really asked for. It's all back to classroom again. And we have the furniture, we have the chairs, we have the right equipment to do that. But it's not about all social distancing. It's about it's about the organization of the event. It's about communicating with the clients before they get before they actually attend, what the expectation is and what the experience would be like. It's about the arrivals. It's about checking in for the conference. It's about the break time catering, about the lunch catering, and this is all about risk mitigation. It is all about the less touch points, the better. So your break time catering is all individually wrapped food items. It's a lot of disposable. Everything's disposable again. We've gone right back to reusing everything, to disposing of everything, but hopefully this won't be forever. Buffet lunches are, buffet lunches are, as we know it and we loved, is now out. It's more served lunches in bento style boxes, and sanitation of the meeting room during break time by staff who have face masks on, continuous sanitation of our public areas, continuous sanitation of our toilets. No more hand dryers in the toilets, in the loos. It's all paper towels now. So everything has been just pulled apart and redrawn. I wouldn't say reinvented is the wrong word, but redrawn. And it's a new experience, but it seems to be working really well, actually. Very happy with it.
Are you tending to find that because of this, or particularly moving forward, you're probably going to be, which is more beneficial in a way, you're probably going to be working much closer with the event planners now? Like you say, we've got to make sure that if we're bringing people across, they've got exactly what they need, and you need to put that in place. So things are going to have to be more.
UK, we had this conversation with some clients yesterday, was, Dublin, I think, is very much going to be on the radar. I wear my Dublin hat here, is that, we're only a 50-minute flight from the UK. Would you rather be on a 50-minute flight than a 2.5-hour flight to some far off part of Europe? Again, it's everybody's perception of risk is different, and you have to realize that a lot of people have been cocooning for 3 months and are very nervous about coming back into society. So let's do the meeting, but let's try and keep the flight time to a minimum. One thing we can be assured is that the airports have really got their game plan in order, and the whole airport experience, the airlines have their game plan in order, so that point to point is going to be a very safe experience for everybody, because nobody's going to take risks. even we have a shuttle bus that we run every half an hour from the airport down to the Crown Plaza Dublin Airport. But it was every half an hour, but it's every hour now, because after every cycle of the bus, we need to do a deep sanitation of the bus. The capacity on the bus was 50 people before, 45 people, but now it's 8 people. So these are the, we really have to think of everything is to make that experience as safe as possible. And then my other bit on the Dublin piece is that Dublin, I suppose, is our capital city, but it only has 1 million people, and probably Dublin goes from the dead centre of Dublin. It probably goes about 40 kilometres out, so it's not a very densely populated city compared to, say, for example, London or Paris or Amsterdam. So on the perception scale of risk, I think Dublin is going to be perceived as a low risk capital city. Again, it could be a good advantage for Dublin there.
Okay, and is there anything we need to sort of know as planners or our delegates coming out for the experience? I mean, some of the people we've been speaking to and destinations we've been speaking to so far have sort of said, realistically, most things are going to be along, as much as the new normal's not far away from the usual normal. It's probably more of a case of not making sure that your agenda isn't packed, allowing more time in terms of at the airport, in terms of transfers, check-ins, everything, just because of the social distancing measures in place.
Correct, yes. It's all going to be a little bit slower, as we know from being out and about. As the economy has opened, that shopping trip that would have taken an hour is now taking 2 hours. So we need to allow more time for that. And we also need to allow for more hybrid events, is where delegates may not want to travel or choose not to travel, and that's going to have to be accepted. So one of the things is the technology is in place. We are, our IT providers, AV providers have that technology to host hybrid events. But what's really important is the infrastructure. So you need to have that 1 gig of internet, of Wi-Fi capacity, of dedicated internet line capacity, which we have, and we've always been best in class on the whole internet game in Dublin in our hotels. It's because we actually own our hotels, rather than managing it for other operators. We own the infrastructure, which is super. And having spoken to the AV companies, bandwidth is critical to running a successful hybrid event, because they're not necessarily done over Zoom or over Microsoft Meetings. They could be done over a piece of software that belongs to the client. So it needs to support that, and effectively and efficiently, and perfectly combined with the AV element, of the production element, of the sound element, of the lighting element. So again, that's all dependent on budget, but critical to that whole conversation is bandwidth, and we have that in stacks.
I think that's the one good thing I've found out of the good things when we've had client events over in Ireland in general. It's probably been more towards our media and tech clients, because Ireland is very, very, like you say, very well set up in that respect for media and tech.
Yeah. It's only now, since we've been having these conversations. I mean, I'm sure the amount of bandwidth we're using is absolutely minuscule, but multiply that on a global scale, that needs to be absolutely bomb-proof, which which it is. Which we're lucky to have that, and thankfully we've always invested heavily in our IT infrastructure in the hotels.
Sure, and I guess really that pretty much covers most things. Is there anything else that you'd like to add in terms of coming out there?
We're open for business. Our pricing is, look, I always think our pricing has been very fair, and it's been negotiable. And the relationship we have with our clients and our agency, friends from the agency world, is going to be really important now going forward. The conversations we've been having is, please tell us what you can do for us, rather than this is what I want. So no idea is a bad idea at the moment, and we are genuinely all in this together. I don't mean to sound cliche. We're all in this together, and I've seen competing hotels come together, and I've seen competing agencies coming together, and trying to problem solve and to work out what the new norm is in events has been really successful, actually. And it's been brilliant to see that. Our pricing, as I said, it's not going to be a race to the bottom. I don't think anybody expects that. And I think if anybody saw a huge drop in rates, you'd say, well, something's got to give, because everybody knows the cost of cleaning products, and it's absolutely enormous. I don't see our prices going up. I see our prices remaining stable, but always value for money. I see our contracting being flexible. God forbid, if we ever had a lockdown again, that, you know, we had to postpone events, that money is safe, and we're prepared to work with clients on that. And is also looking after, you know, that relationship is going to be so key now, and we've seen that great coming together. And once things kick off again, and I think in earnest things are really going to kick off again in January, February, all going well, and that's where we're going to see having a return back to live events as we kind of knew it. And I always kind of say kind of, because, you know, will it be the same as it was? Maybe not for a long time. By virtue of Ireland, there's one more point I wanted to make, is that, you know, geographically, UK and Ireland is always seen as one kind of economic market in a lot of respects for a lot of companies, particularly in the FMCG or on pharma business. So what we're finding now is that, you know, that meeting where staff would have had to go to the UK for a meeting, they are having that meeting now in Dublin.
Yeah.
Don't come back to base in you know, in Surrey or wherever it is. It's stay in Dublin and, you know, meet at one of the hotels and, you know, do the socially distanced safe thing. But it's not necessarily, you know, stay in your regional market, even though we come under the UK and Ireland umbrella, which is hopefully an opportunity for us. But you know, it's very much an open book.
Absolutely, yeah, great. Well, thank you very much. Really informative. Great, just great to hear you guys are back up and running. It's a really positive story to
hear. Very positive and proactive on your side. I really appreciate that, and you know, very best of luck with this. I think it's a great initiative you're running, and it's good to be invited on one of these calls. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Brilliant. No, thank you for that, and I look forward to hopefully being out there in Ireland and Dublin, especially very soon.
Finally, we got to get you out. Definitely, that's an invite still up.
Okay, thank you very much.
Great, thank you.
Hello, my name is Jason Orbston, General Manager at Clontaff Castle. People have been welcomed through the doors of our iconic 12th century castle over the course of its 848-year history. Today, we prepare to continue to honour that tradition. We are committed to delivering service excellence and ensuring best-in-class cleaning, hygiene systems and procedures that are in place to guarantee the safety and security of our guests and our colleagues while enjoying this unique hotel. In consultation with our hygiene partners at Ecolab, where necessary, we have updated the existing procedures. In addition, we have introduced a range of new systems that are in line with current government guidelines to further protect our guests and colleagues. Some of the new measures introduced include a 45-minute cleaning cycle in our reception and public spaces, and the use of hospital-grade Ecolab cleaning and sanitisation products on frequently touched surfaces and areas. To further protect our guests, we have introduced plexiglass screens at our front desks. We encourage our guests to follow current government advice concerning physical distancing, hand hygiene etiquette, and respiratory etiquette. For our guests' convenience, we have introduced hand sanitisation stations in the hotel public areas and are now including hand sanitisation wipes as part of our guests' in-room amenity kit. Our guest bedroom, housekeeping systems and procedures have been reviewed to ensure best practice is in place, with a focus on frequently touched surfaces, which are cleaned and sanitised using hospital-grade Ecolab products. We have removed all non-essential soft furnishings and in-room collateral, and our housekeeping team are now equipped with and trained in the use of PPE when servicing guest bedrooms. For those guests who wish to remain in their rooms during their stay, we have introduced a new contactless in-room dining service option, where your meal is delivered in disposable packaging directly to your room. In the hotels, bars and restaurants, a safe dining program has been introduced which will remain in place for the duration of the pandemic. Measures including restricted capacity, minimal distancing between tables, maximum group sizes, and a clear table policy are now in place. In our conference and events centres, room setup has been recalculated downwards to accommodate physical distancing. Hand sanitisation stations and hand sanitisation wipes are now in place in meeting rooms, and Ecolab sanitisation products are in use throughout meeting and event areas. We've also introduced a new range of meeting dining menus and options that will allow for safe guest dining during your meeting or event. The range and scope of measures and systems that we've introduced gives you the confidence to return again to Clontaff Castle. We will never forget our commitment to ensuring that all of our guests feel cared for, valued and respected. We as a team are definite and decisive when we say you're in safe hands. We acknowledge and appreciate your courage in returning to us. We are ready to open our doors and welcome you back to Clontarf, Clontarf, Meadow of the Bull, when the time is right.
Thank you for watching. We welcome any feedback and questions in the comment section below, and please make sure you follow me on all our social networks.